On the news tonight, President Buhari grants audience to Deputy Senate President, promises robust relationship. Speaker House of Reps says NAS will make adequate budgetary provision to develop affected parts of Zamfara. Presidential Election Petition Tribunal resumes hearing after last Friday's alleged attacks on witnesses. Good evening, I am Abisola Pedro Ademi, and this is the Channel 12 News reaching you live on Nta Abeokuta. Thanks for joining us, and now the news in details. President Muhammadu Buhari has granted audience to the Deputy President of the Senate, Ovie Omo Agege, in furtherance to effectively work in harmony for peace and prosperity of the country. The Presidential Election Petition Court this Monday resumes hearing of the petition of the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Abubakar. The court adjourned last Friday as a result of alleged attack on the witnesses of the petitioners who were coming from Zamfara State, an allegation the Zamfara State Police Command has refuted. So far, the petitioners have called 37 witnesses out of the 400 they proposed. The petitioners continued calling their witnesses this Monday. Nigeria will need to update our obsolete business laws to clearly define the legal framework that will earn investors' confidence again. This was viewed when experts critically discussed financing options for infrastructure development on Good Morning Nigeria. They applauded the present administration's visible ongoing infrastructure development where the bulk of borrowing is being developed. Lydia Sampson now reports. We are sorry for the poor audio quality of that report. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, says the National Assembly will ensure adequate budgetary provision for the development of areas affected by banditry and other forms of criminality in Zamfara State. He was speaking at an interactive session with stakeholders in the security management of the state. Correspondent Aliru Mohammed Umar has more. We are sorry again for the poor audio quality of that report. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, says South African government must account for all Nigerians killed in its jurisdiction. Senator Lawan was speaking during a meeting with South African Acting High Commissioner to Nigeria, Bobby Muru. Ignatius Upo now reports. The Ogun State government is working on two bills, namely public-private partnership and industrial promotion bills to be presented to the House of Assembly for consideration. The governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, stated this during a visit by the delegation from Nigeria Export Promotion Council, led by the executive director, Olusegun Awolowo. Correspondent Lukman Adifeso's report is presented in this package. Adigbe, Opako, Obada road users and residents of the area have called on the state governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, to expedite action on the reconstruction of the damaged Monijesu section of the road and bridge for a guaranteed durability of the road. Residents and motorists made the call while speaking to correspondent Anthony Gardino, who visited the damaged portion of the road for updates.
condition of the BC Adigbe Opako Obada Road for long has been worrisome until recently when a flood as a result of heavy rainfall which washed away the Moniji section of the road, leaving the residents and users with harrowing experience. Although palliative work was done on the failed portion to relieve users of difficulties faced while plying the road, the portion, according to some motorists, needs a bridge instead of culverts.
We're appealing to the federal government, particular state government, to help us to do the bridge, big bridge that the ocean can easily flow in, so that the vehicle can easily move from one place to another easily.
So bad that we could not even see. Like we can all see. Look at the bridge now, almost break into two. So government should just please help us. And we trust the administration. We know that we will try its possible best.
Recently, the state governor, Nta Abeokuta, visited the scene and promised immediate work on the road for better and durable job.
We need to aggressively deal with that section of that road. And it progressively begins to look very unsafe. So I have pleaded with the community to please allow us to close that road. We're going to close that road immediately.
Visit to the scene after 3 days of the governor's visit and promise, work is yet to commence as no contractor is on site except the signboard indicating men at work. NTN's crew visit to the only alternative Itaoshi Obada Road revealed that some portions at Olomori and Biri areas are begging for attention from the government as some motorists decried the condition of the road.
Condition of this road is bad. Some places, which is terribly bad, and hope they've been doing some places right from Owode and Alobo. But after that place, the rest place, most of the places are very, very bad, and it can cause a lot of problems to vehicles and even pave way for robbers. So we're imploring the government to help us, do something about the road.
The motorists who expressed fear of more trouble when work finally began at Adigbe Opako Road, however, called for patching of the failed portions at Biri and Olomore for smooth motoring.
The governor of Ogun State, Prince Nta Abeokuta, has promised to prioritize welfare of the citizens by making life meaningful for the people through the construction of social amenities in the 3 geopolitical zones of the state. The governor made the promise while on a special visit to Ilaro General Hospital. Correspondent Lukman Adifeso reports that the governor ordered the immediate reconstruction of the collapsed bridge along Adigbe Opako Road.
In continuation of his mission to transform some major sectors, including health in Ogun State, to enable residents and citizens of Ogun State enjoy qualitative and responsive health care delivery, the governor is getting on-the-spot assessment and information to carry out the task ahead. The governor's visit to Ogun State General Hospital, Ilaro, where he assessed the facilities at World to Worlds, including the Children's Ward, described most of the facilities in the hospital as outdated and obsolete, unconducive working environment, but promised to resuscitate the hospital as soon as possible.
So we must declare an emergency on these state hospitals so that they can begin to render the service that they need to render to our people, because most of our people cannot afford anywhere else but this place. So that's why I'm here. And we need set up a team to come back and take over this place in conjunction with the PS, the Management Board, and the other members of the health team in the state. We will begin to, like I said, immediate term and then medium to long term intervention programs.
The Secretary, Ministry of Health, Dr. Nofiu Aigoro, advised the governor on the need to employ more consultants, as Ogun State have only 38 of them spread across the state hospitals.
We should have a complement of consultants to take care of the system.
Residents were appreciative of the government plan, as they were optimistic that the governor has started work in line with his promise.
The chairman and CEO of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Erewa, has responded to the complaints of Nigerians in the diaspora about the fee charged by the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, for the registration and insurance of identity numbers to legal Nigerians resident in various countries abroad. Joy Osiago tells us more.
Apart from the quality of service rendered by some Nigerian embassies in the delivery of passports to Nigerians abroad, the fee charged by the National Identity Management Commission (NIMC) to register and issue unique national identification numbers to qualified citizens and legal residents outside Nigeria was a major issue begging for attention during the Vice President's Town Hall meeting with Nigerians in New York. Honorable Abike Erewa, Chair and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, was also asked to give a constructive response to the matter at the meeting with health practitioners in the Americas in Washington, D.C. You can come to Nigeria and get it free, but NIMS is bringing it to you as a paid token and get it done. So which is cheaper? To fly with your family to Nigeria and get your national identification number, which subsequently must be in your passport. And within the next 5 years, I believe they want to ensure everybody is enrolled. So taking it to you in the diaspora is their own way of collaborating with the diaspora, making life easier. So if your token is charged, because it costs them to bring this equipment and everything to them in the diaspora. So they're asking, pay a little amount. You have an option. It's not compulsory. You can come back to Nigeria. You can come to Nigeria anytime you're traveling and get it done with your family. But you have option of getting it done where you live. In Washington, D.C., Joy Usiago, NTA News.
Now, business news. Stock market investors lose 366 billion naira in 3 days. For details and more on business news, let's join Basiro Akiriti. President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates veteran associates of the elder statesman and loyal party stalwarts who have successfully translated words into action by fully participating in politics and governance and learning the legacy of serving as a governor of the state in 2 terms. President Buhari, however, praised that the Almighty God will grant the former governor longer life, good health, and strength to continue serving the country he loves so much and bless his family. The ideals of Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka, his literary and art works will continue to be a source of inspiration to many in the academia, including younger generation. This came to the fore at the 85th birthday celebration of the Nobel laureate organized by Wole Soyinka International Center for Cultural Exchange. Akim Jima's report is here presented.
The memories of the 85th birthday celebration of Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka will continue to linger on in the minds of participants, majority of whom were secondary school students. Drawn from 36 states of the Federation, the symbolic 85 students who made it to the finals converged on Ijegba village home of Professor Wole Soyinka. There was no dull moment throughout the period the event lasted, even as the students took turns to educate, entertain, and compete in various activities lined up for the day. For one of the organizers, Professor Shebu Ojewi, Professor Wole Soyinka will continue to serve as a mentor and role model to many, especially younger generations, for societal development.
Oda is a writer who has written a lot of literature and is read across the world. Education is one of the most vital, most important tools for any nation to develop itself. So we have brought these ideas of the arts, the culture, the ideals of Professor Soyinka to the children. So for 10 years, we organized this essay writing competition.
Some of the participating students described the experience as worthwhile.
In my life as a student, I've never brought back anything from my school. In fact, I've never went out for competition for my school.
I know Professor Wole Soyinka to be a genuine person, someone that is always original, and that is something I can really admire. So a very big thank you to the organizers for giving me the opportunity to come out and sing my poem.
Earlier, the 85 students were engaged in essay writing on the topic, the challenges of national development at the popular June 12 Cultural Center, Nta Abeokuta. At the end, some students who distinguished themselves in the various competitions won home motivated prizes and awards for their outstanding performance. The theme of the 10th edition of the celebration of Nobel laureate by the Wole Soyinka International Center for Cultural Exchange is freedom, justice, and equity, the children's intervention in the renewal of the nation.
An interactive session with the younger generation was part of the activities earmarked for the 85th birthday anniversary of Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka. Correspondent Mohammed Adibowale reports that the literary icon took his time to share his wealth of experience with the students drawn from the 36 states of the Federation. His report.
At the event aimed at building capacity and character, participants took turns to ask questions on the celebrants' rise to fame, challenges of the African continent, and how to address them.
The most inconceivable aspect of history is the very notion that different people who've gone different ways towards expressing something they feel internally in relation to external phenomena, they should fight among themselves, kill one another. It's something which we cannot really explain. It's an arrogance which I cannot understand.
The literary icon noted that to surmount the numerous challenges threatening the unity of Nigeria, leaders must shun partisan politics and work together towards ensuring that Nigeria as a system works.
Right? Show your teachers, sometimes even send to journals, you collect your rejection slips, be prepared for those, you collect it, put it in your drawer, and write again, or rewrite. It's only practice, practice, practice.
Sharing his travels under military rule, Professor Soyinka challenged his young audience to prepare for leadership role and be ready to make sacrifices should the need arise.
We need an icon like him to continue to be in our midst, to provide the inspiration that is required for our nation building.
Winners of the Wole Soyinka essay writing competition were presented with their trophies. 60-year-old Ajayi Kolajo of Abeokuta Grammar School emerged overall winner of the 10th edition.
I feel wonderful because I was thinking someone from media can just take this position. I was surprised.
In Abeokuta, Mohammed Adibowale, NT News.
We now go back to the story of the Senate President. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, says South African government must account for all Nigerians killed in its jurisdiction. Senator Lawan was speaking during a meeting with South African Acting High Commissioner to Nigeria, Bobby Muru. Ignatius Oko now reports.
On the circumstances surrounding the death of a Nigerian woman, Elizabeth Chukwu, the South African Acting High Commissioner to Nigeria, Bobby Muro, has visited the President of the Senate to brief him on steps taken by the South African government. Muro explained that the South African government has instituted an inquest into the incident as the police has retrieved the closed-circuit camera footage which did not reveal any sign of movement in her room.
So at this stage, the cause of her death is not known, as no report has ever been issued yet. The South African police services are working closely with Emperor's Palace Hotel, where she sadly passed on, in order to establish events leading to the death of Ms. Chukwu.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, although appreciated the effort made by the South African government so far, insisted that the investigation must go beyond Mrs. Elizabeth Chukwu to include the 118 Nigerians killed in South Africa between 2016 and 2018, out of which 13 were allegedly killed by the South African police.
We are not going to take this anymore. Any Nigerian killed must be accounted for. We are going to write the names of all Nigerians killed in South Africa, 118, from the time the first killing started to the last.
Senator Lawan reminded the South African delegation of the role Nigeria played during the apartheid period.
As a country, we got involved through our resources, through our emotions, and ANC declared Nigeria a frontline state, even though we have no contiguity.
3 weeks ago, Mrs. Elizabeth Chukwu traveled to South Africa for a conference and was found dead in her hotel room. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nko, NTA News.
Nigeria will need to update our obsolete business laws to clearly define the legal framework that will earn investors' confidence again. This was viewed when experts critically discussed financing options for infrastructure development on Good Morning Nigeria. They applauded the present administration's visible ongoing infrastructure development, where the bulk of borrowing is being developed. Lydia Sampson now reports.
Infrastructure is at the heart of every thriving economy, and Nigeria, experts say, has a yearning gap in infrastructure development. Over the years, Nigeria has had to journey into debt markets to raise funds for bridging the gap, but at between 70 to 75% deficit of national stock. You look at the other options, we can't afford to print money. We can also not afford to raise taxes at this point in time. Okay, so what would seem feasible for now is going to borrow. But of course, the question for me is whether what we have done so far have been optimal.
I am not perturbed with the level of our borrowings now, because our reality is either of two. Either we remain where we are, and we continue to live piecemeal, as it were, or we take a revolutionary action, be more committed, transparent, borrow money, and deploy it as appropriate, to infrastructure, so that we can trigger faster economic development momentum.
This readily brings to mind the need to take revolutionary action that include pegging time frames for development and payment of external loans.
There's another model that the government can also utilize, called the regulated asset-based model. That model also can be utilized by the government because it ensures and also guarantees the investor the rate of return on their investment, and again is also backed by the legislation, which also ensures that the investor recoups his sunk investments in infrastructure.
Demonstration of some political will, which is really very important, and then we must be able to show that we are transparent, no corruption. So these are the kind of things that we require to have in place, and then you will see investment flowing from every nook and crannies of the world.
The guys also suggested exploring the build, operate, and transfer model, as well as public-private partnership, which they agree, if properly harnessed, will significantly slash Nigeria's infrastructure deficit. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Men of Ogun State Police Command on Sunday arrested 3 members of armed robbery syndicate who specialize in snatching motorcycles from owners around Odobolu, Ayepe, Oshosa, and others adjoining communities in the area. A statement by the Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Abimbola Oyeyemi, indicated that their modus operandi is to look for a rider of a new motorcycle and pretend as passengers, having armed themselves with grinded pepper, screwdrivers, and spanner before boarding such motorcycle. On getting to an isolated area, they will spray the pepper on the face of the rider, stab him with the screwdriver, making it easy for them to overpower such person and dispose him of the motorcycle. The statement added that luck, however, ran against the trail of Ibru Ogbeba, Monde Wewe, and Bisoyi Udubote, on Sunday when they robbed one Tanko Abdullahi of his Bajaj motorcycle with registration number JBG375WZ after spraying pepper on his face. The alarm raised by the victim attracted the DPO Odobolu Division CSP Saminu Aketude, who was on routine patrol with his men in collaboration of some other Okada riders, subsequently apprehended them. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police, CP Bashir Makama, has ordered the transfer of the suspect to Special Anti-Robbery Squad for discreet investigation. Now, entertainment news. Popular Nigerian artist Don Jazzy says recent evictions from the Big Brother Niger prove that women do not support each other. For details and more on entertainment news, let's join Pasiro Akiriti.
On entertainment news, social media users are still catching their breath from the unexpected turn of events at the recent eviction show of the Big Brother Nigeria 2019. The show's host, Ebuka Obi Uchendu, announced Ella as the first housemate that will be joining the other two ladies, Avala and Ismolu, that had been sent back in the previous week. As if that's not enough, Queen and much admired housemate Kip Lepra was also announced as another housemate that has come to the end of her journey in the house. As expected, the eviction of the ladies had caused a lot of mixed reaction on social media, and among those who reacted is Ace music producer Don Jazzy. In a post shared on Twitter, the Marvel record boss expressed that a quick removal of females from the reality show goes a long way in showing how women do not support each other. Reacting to his tweet's point of view. Still on entertainment news, Nigerian singer Timi Dakolo has taken to social media to celebrate his beautiful daughter, Helen Dakolo. The singer shared a photo of the beautiful girl on his Instagram page to celebrate her birthday. Timi and Busola Dakolo's second born, Helen, added a number to her age. Helen joined the gang of big little girls as she clocked 7 years. The proud father showered the little girl with praises and prayer on his Instagram page. Dakolo also expressed how much he loves his baby girl and asked her to continue to make him and his wife proud. Meanwhile, some weeks ago, popular Nigerian politician Senator Dino Melaye announced the passing of his dearly beloved mother, Deaconess Comfort Melaye, on social media. In the following development, the flamboyant senator hosted friends, colleagues, and family members in a wake-up service that took place over the weekend. Popular figures in the Nigerian movie industry like Alex Uzifo, Larry Kuswit, Kaye Fele, and Mobi, among others, were all at hand to join the politician in giving his late mom a befitting farewell ceremony. In a bid to immortalize the deceased, Senator Dino Melaye shared photos of a new chapel that was built and named after his darling mother. And that's on NTA Entertainment News. I am Basiro Akinriti.
And now sports. The Super Eagles of Nigeria have what it takes to win their semi-final match against Algeria in the ongoing African Cup of Nations tournament in Egypt if they had been improved on their tactical prowess. A cross-section of sports journalists made this observation in an interview with correspondent Akim Jimoh while reviewing the performance of the Eagles during the match.
I think they just had that element of luck to have seen them through to that stage. Sincerely, they didn't play as a team that can win the championship. I didn't see them to have displayed that sense of urgency, that sense of responsibility in them that we can do it. Perhaps the midfield yesterday, perhaps probably the absence of Mikel, perhaps because of injuries, maybe. But again, are they saying that we cannot have the bench? Definitely, we didn't have the bench. If that game had gone to extra time, I believe, I am telling you, Algerians will have beaten us as much as 3-1 or thereabout. If we had gone to extra time, that is because they've seen, our guys were tired. They couldn't match up with that strength in the Algerians.
We're able to come after the first half 1-0 goal. And then in the last minute, 9 seconds of the match, the Algerians got their goal. So nothing was wrong with that Super Eagles. That was the best we could give. They played a better team, no doubt about it. The Algerians were better in all departments. From the defense line, in the midfield, they were compact. They didn't allow players to express themselves. They didn't allow them to get hold of the ball. They were holding the ball, passing very well, getting to our defense very well, putting us under pressure throughout the first half. The second half, our boys tried and came out a bit, improved, and then luck was on our side. We got a goal from the penalty and converted it, and then it was a game between physicality and technicality yesterday. You can see that the Algerians got their tactics very right. The connections was there, and everything went well for them. They put their house in order, and they were in good order. Let's look at the goalkeeping departments, the defense, the midfield, and the strikers themselves. Those strikers had cutting edges ahead of the.
Still